And this was, I was trying to redeem the time, so I had a cell phone in one hand, it was legal then. I had a computer over here, I was writing a sermon, I was driving with my knee, and I was doing all of this stuff. And as I'm driving down the road, about 70 miles per hour, this car goes around me going, and I'm going 70. And it goes like this, and then it goes back like this, and I said to my sister-in-law I was talking to, gotta go, there's going to be an accident. I threw that cell phone down and grabbed that steering wheel with two hands, and I paid very good close attention, and sure enough I saw that thing go this way, this way, this way, and it came back this way, and it hit a metal rail, and it rolled, true story, landed upside down. Now, I had taken some training in EMT and ambulance work back in my college days, so I stopped and I went up to look in the automobile, and then before I went I assessed if it was safe or not, but I saw smoke coming out of the engine, and so I thought, boy, I don't know if I should go up there. That thing could blow up and I could die. But then I thought, all these thoughts go through your mind. There's somebody in that car and they could die. And another thought goes through my mind. If I die, I'm going to go to heaven. If they die, I don't know if they're going to go to heaven. So I went in. And I looked for the automobile, and I looked for a person or people, and I did not see one person in the automobile. They had been ejected. But I did see a whole lot of Corona beer bottles. And so I put 2 plus 2 together in my mind, and it spelled drunk driving. So I look around for a person, and I see a body back about 100 yards, and I went back to where that body was as fast as I could, and I saw this body, and the eyes were open, and I'm not trying to be needlessly grotesque, I'm trying to be needfully grotesque. The legs were broken, right about here, and they were back behind his back. His arms were broken, and all deformed and laying unnaturally. And not trying to be needlessly grotesque, but needfully grotesque. There were several fingers that had been scraped off on the pavement. And I looked on his chest, and there was a hole in his chest the size of a tennis ball. So I got down, felt his pulse, and it was not there. And though his eyes were open, he was very dead. Now I can hardly go into one of these gas stations where I'm trying to buy gas and I see these Corona beer bottles. I can hardly go in without wanting to kick that stand down. Because there's nothing in a Corona beer bottle that's going to give somebody life, but there's something in it that can destroy life. So anyway, I look at this fella and I think this simple thought, as serious as it is, it's so serious and so true. If somebody could have got to him where he could have left his life, it could have saved his life. If he left the life of alcohol and came to Jesus, he could have extended his life. You see what I'm saying? If you save the life of sin, you can actually lose your life prematurely. And the same is true from other things. And I'm not trying to just beat people. I love people. But I have never seen a cigarette help anybody, but I have seen a cigarette take lives prematurely. And if you save that life of cigarette smoking, you know Jesus doesn't want it, you could actually lose your life prematurely. Now, that means you could actually affect your life right now. If you young people get into sin, you could actually end your life. It doesn't matter if your name is Christian. Sin can put you in an early grave. So, you save your life of sin, you can lose your life. If you lose life of sin, you can save your life. That's what it's saying. Now, it's also talking about the quality of your life. Think about this. I am a Christian. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to follow the Bible way. Is there anybody else trying to do that too? How many would agree that the Bible way has been a little bit better for your family than the worldly way? I think my kids are happier. I think my kids are better trained. I think that my marriage is better because of the forgiveness and the following of Christ's way. And I'm saying the quality of my life is better. I also think that the meaning of my life is better. When I think about what I had been doing, I was selling suits at JCPenney's. Is there anything wrong with selling suits at JCPenney? No. But I do think that I'm making a little bit more of an impact than selling suits at JCPenney. Though I don't mean to demean those people that do. Thank God they do. I need a few of these. But I'm saying the meaning of my life. Now, when I was surrendering for full-time ministry to be a preacher, I can remember a dear lady in my church said, "I'm so disappointed in your decision." I said, "Well, why, Myrtle?" She said, "The way that you're going at J.C. Penney's, if you stay at it, you could be a manager." Now, would I want to be a manager at J.C. Penney's? I'd be fine with that if that's what God wanted for me. But to be a preacher who's traveled around the world preaching, I'm nobody, but I'm thankful I get to do these things. And I'm not enduring it, I'm enjoying it, and there's meaning. Now, if you save your life, you lose it. If you lose your life, you can save it. That also means this. If you hang on to a life that is without Jesus, and you don't want Him, you can save that life, and you don't mess with it. But I will say this, you'll lose your life if you don't come to Jesus. You'll lose your eternal soul. If you be willing, with the evidence that you have, with what you've seen about Jesus being true, if a person would be willing to leave behind the old life and embrace Jesus Christ, they'll save their life and have eternal life. You follow me? If you save your life, you lose it. If you lose your life, you save it. And nobody has ever lost by coming to Jesus. Now, few people really today are living in any way of denying themselves. You know what I found? I've got to deny myself. I'm in this stage right now. I'm trying to lose a little weight. You say, "Why? You look awesome." I know I do. But I still need to lose some weight because I'm overweight. And my wife will say, "Come on, Mike." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And she says, "You're always snacking." I said, "No, I'm not. I don't sometimes." And so what I've learned is that if I'm going to do this, I just have to deny myself sometimes of something that I might want to eat and eat something different. And you know what's happening? It's just happening. I've lost like 10 pounds. Now, this is so simple, but it's a denial of something for something better. And I deny myself of what I want to do, and I embrace what Jesus wants me to do. And not too many people are willing to deny themselves of anything. We're worried about our reputation, we're worried about our time, our me time, our whatever. And when we deny ourselves, we actually hurt ourselves. When we don't deny ourselves and do what Jesus wants us to do. Now, I am going to close, but just something I'm trying to learn is this life is nothing. It's a vapor. I want my life to count for eternal things, and I want us all just to be encouraged that way. I'll illustrate this. The first time I was invited to go to Haiti, I've been there several times now, I think 7 times. That doesn't mean anything except I like to go on cool trips. No, I love to preach over there. But I've been there 7 times, and the first time that I was going to go, I was so excited. I was going to take my whole family. And a preacher in North Carolina came to me and said, "You're going to Haiti?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, you don't want to go to Haiti. It's nasty." Well, I don't mind it being a little dirty. I can handle that. I don't mind that. And then he said, "You're not taking your wife, are you?" And I said, "Yeah, we're all going to go. Kids are going to go." And he says, "No, you don't want to go. It's dangerous. You don't want to take your wife there." I said, "What? Dangerous?" That got my attention. I don't mind being in danger, but I didn't want to put my wife in danger. So I called up somebody. I said, "Can you check it out and see what it's like over there?" And they checked, and the United States government said, "Don't go to Haiti. It's too dangerous." So I called up this Haitian lady who wanted us to come, she and her husband, to preach to her people. Told her we won't be able to come. We were told by our government it's not a good thing for Americans to go. They're kidnapping things. I didn't tell her that yet, but I said it's not good for us to go. And the lady said, Haitian lady, "Brother Mike, you've got to come. They need the Lord." I said, "Well, Rosie, we'd love to come, but we're not really advised to go as Americans. They're telling Americans not to go, that it's too dangerous for them, so we'll have to come another time." She said, "You got to trust God." I said, Rosie, I trust God, but God gave me, and I pulled out this thing, an umbrella of protection in a government, and I have to obey the rulers over me. And they tell us not to go. I can't go right now. She says, you got to come. So I pulled out my big argument, which is a true argument. I said, Rosie, they're kidnapping people. And you know what Rosie said? Huh, all my friends been kidnapped. She said, you got to come. And then it hit a new reality level. I said, well, what do you do? Why do they kidnap people? Oh, they want money. I said, what if you don't have it? They kill you. You've got to come. You've got to trust God. So I was thinking that thing through, and she kept saying, you've got to come. You've got to trust God. So I didn't want to look too much like I was all talk and no walk, saying I trust God. So I did a little step into the water. I said, I'll come. And I'll take my brother Paul with me. And I took Paul with me, not my family, my brother, my family, but not my wife and kids. And so I took him for two reasons. One, I can run faster than him. And two, I took him because he speaks French and it would help me communicate with some people. So we went and we had a great time. There were dangerous times. Then I'm not a hero. Those people are heroes. But it was interesting. But God did some good things, so we went again. This time I took my wife and we had to stay in a compound with barbed wire fence. We couldn't go anywhere without a Haitian. There were times where there were tires burning in the road. There were times when there were gunshots. There were times when bottles were thrown. And we always had to get away, and we followed the advice of the Haitians. But we survived. Then we went back a third time. Then went back a fourth, and then a seventh. And I remember one time I was going to go in Haiti, and I called up Rosie and said, I'm coming such and such a time. And Rosie said, you can't come right now. I said, why, Rosie? She said, it's too dangerous. And I had a lot of fun as I said back to her, Rosie, you got to trust God. I said, I'm coming. And so went and had a great time. We went on a trip to Liberia, Africa last year, and my wife, as many of you are aware, has contracted a virus. And she has now been sick. She can take no more than 200 steps maximum in a single day. And she's been sick a year and a half now. And you know what she said to me the other day? I have got to get better because I've got to go back to Liberia. I said, you sure you should go back? She said, I have to go back. And the heart attitude of my wife is, it's worth it. Now, if we don't get over ourselves and start living in reality, the reality is that Jesus Christ is who He is. And when we get convinced beyond any shadow of a doubt, then we'll deny ourselves of anything, even life, if we need to, for following Him. Hey, you got to die somehow. What a way to go. Wouldn't it be great to go serving the Lord? Let's bow our heads.